Hello, guys and gals, and we are back with a book review. We're continuing our book review of the Daniel X 6-part series thing, and then there will be a review of the series as a whole, where I can basically coalesce all my final thoughts. Anyways, so in book 3, this is Daniel X, Demons and Druids. It is a book by James Patterson and Adam Sadler. And prior to this, I had not read any of Adam Sadler's work. And reading this, I kind of want to check out and see what more he's written. But anyways, this book continues basically where the last book left off, book 2. This is a review for book 3. And in this book, Daniel X and his friends, Willie, Joe, Dana, and Emma, are on their way to London to basically destroy the third most powerful alien threat on Earth ever. And whereas the human body is made up of 90% water or something like that. I don't remember the exact percentage, so don't quote me on that. My biology is a little bit rusty. But whatever percentage of water the human body is made up of, number 3 on the list is actually made up of that much fire instead of water, because he comes from a planet of creatures just like him, fiery creatures. And basically, most living things on our planet would die instantly, except for the coolest places would be around the poles, similar the North Pole and the South Pole, similar to on planet Earth. But anyways, and I don't remember what planet that is. I'm sorry about that, but it has a really cool name. Give me just a sec. Sorry about that. But yeah, Phosphorus Beta's home planet was Sindaris, a very cool name. I couldn't remember it exactly though. But anyways, so you don't get number 3 on the list by being something that is very easy to defeat. This book actually introduced another one of Daniel X's powers. See, Daniel X, if you haven't seen the other 2 book review videos, he has the power to basically create anything from nothing, because he can manipulate the matter of the universe into whatever he needs. So he basically has the power of creation. Also, he can manipulate people's minds, wipe people's minds, brainwash people, but he never uses that for any bad purpose. But in this particular book, he learns how to travel back in time. He can manipulate time. I don't think that he actually goes forward in time until, I want to say, the 5th book. But time travel becomes a factor in this book. What was the 4th book? No, the 4th book was that one. Okay. So anyways, but yeah, this introduces time travel, and that comes into play not only at the very beginning of the book, but also at the end. Basically, Phosphorus Beta is so powerful, Daniel X has to travel back in time just to, well, not so much defeat him, but weaken him. But anyways, so yeah, they're in London, and they find basically a largely renovated but abandoned building to stay in. He needs a safe home base so that he can track down the big number 3, Phosphorus Beta. And so anyways, a lot of really interesting things happen. Whereas Daniel needs the power of concentration in order to use his powers to travel through time, he doesn't really need to really use his thoughts. He doesn't need to concentrate or anything. It's kind of like accessing a different part of his brain, I guess. Whereas a lot of the parts of his powers need concentration. The power to traverse time just basically requires relaxation and basically emotion. He needs to feel strong emotions in order to travel through time, which makes sense. Basically, alien hunters, really good alien hunters, can even find time holes, which are basically landmark events in time, literally break time. So maybe traumatic events as well. It's kind of a theory that I had. Um, Basically, it's not a proven theory and not one that I really even published or anything like that. But I've long had a theory. Wait a second. That the reason that ghosts haunt certain places is because something atrocious happened there or something very, very traumatic. So the trauma of that event actually weakened the barrier between, the living and the dead. Not enough to like bring zombies through, but maybe to bring like ghosts through or to make paranormal events happen. And this is kind of like the same thing. Sometimes events are so traumatic that it causes a hole in time. And to enter this hole in time, you can get back to the apex or the end of that time hole. And it basically goes into wormhole theory. And what I love most about the Daniel X book series is that um, James Patterson could basically write a kid's book on string theory, probably, and I'd understand it a lot better than someone, a physicist or someone like that, could probably try to explain it to me in a way that I could understand, but I probably couldn't understand it. But if James Patterson wrote a children's book about, say, string theory or some of those high notion theoretical physics things, then I would probably understand it, because it's really, really rare for someone to be able to get these really complex ideas and simplify them enough for children to understand. And I admire that about these books. Now, I'll say that all the books in the franchise or the series are very simple to read. And I don't mean that in a bad way. And if anything, I mean it in a good way. The way I see it, some people who try to write for adults, well, this is a book series basically designed for young adults, I would say. But basically books aimed at adults. I do have to put a pin in this and preface this, say a little things before this. When I talk about adult books, I don't mean adult 18 plus books or erotica. I don't mean that. I just basically mean books that are written for adults, not necessarily. It's basically what in the old days would be called what in the old days would be called dirty books. I don't mean those. I don't mean those. Those can be over there. There's nothing wrong with those, but I'm not talking about those. What I'm talking about is somebody writing maybe an adventure. Like if someone were to novelize, like say Uncharted or something like that, and aim it like at adults. But yeah, I probably didn't explain that at all, but properly at all. But I mean, people who write with an adult audience in mind, sometimes they overcomplicate things, is what I'm trying to say. But the Daniel X series is always really, really accessible to everybody, which is what I really like. But anyways, after that little blunder, I should probably cut that part out, but I probably won't remember to. But anyways, so yeah, James Patterson could probably basically write a children's book about string theory or, time travel, which he kind of did here. He did more than adequate. He did an excellent job of encapsulating time travel here, and it actually being believable because it deals with wormholes and stuff like that, which is really, really fascinating. But yeah, anyways, so yeah, time travel. Time travel always comes at a cost, and sometimes it's at an emotional cost. And that's another one of the fascinating things about the way that Daniel X time travels. Sometimes in order to time travel, you have to relive, probably the worst day of your life. And he does. In fact, it's basically a scene played out in several of the books where Daniel X basically has to go, relive his trauma, several times. But I'm of the idea or the mindset, the worldview that basically if everything is, roses and rainbows and sunshine, then without the bad, you really don't realize the impact of the good. So what I'm saying is like, if you really like pizza, but if you have pizza like every single day, then it becomes less special because, well, if you're getting pizza all the time, then it basically gets old, kind of. So when something traumatic happens, when something we don't understand happens, then maybe that happens because that makes it feel so much better when the good things actually happen or when something good happens. It intensifies the experience, I would say. But that has nothing really much to do with the book. So that was a side tangent, and I apologize. Anyways, so Daniel and his friends, well, Daniel gets teleported back in time through a time hole. And I will say, without spoiling anything whatsoever, that they could basically have a spin-off book, at least two other spin-off books, just of this book, of what I just mentioned, because something happens and to somebody else, and they could basically make books about those characters under the Daniel X umbrella, I would say, and then just be like, oh, hey, this happened to this and this and this person, and we could write a whole book about that, and this happened to this and this and this person, and we could write a book about that, and it would be perfectly feasible, and that'd be something I'd probably buy. But anyways, so yeah, I don't know if I want to spoil. I won't spoil the time travel aspect of it, because it does say on the back of the book, and I will read it, so I'm not spoiling it. Says there was a crash downstairs and smoke began billowing out of the hallway that led into the basement. I backed up a couple of quick steps, and fire suddenly reminded me of Beta. But then I stopped abruptly when I saw something more startling, strange, and beautiful than anything I'd ever encountered on any of the 17 planets I'd visited. Before me was a hole in time. So of course, Daniel X travels through time. I think this power gets nerfed in like the next book, I think. And I don't think they really bring up time travel till the 5th book, if I remember right. But don't quote me on that. I'm making this a couple months after I've read the 3rd book. But anyways, it's really hard to do a spoiler-free review of this book because I want to talk about it, but I don't want to give anything away. Basically, all I want to do is to convince people to read the book because I really like this franchise. And I think it's ingenious, really. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around. Okay, so basically there are 6 books, and they were written by 4 different... Wait a minute. Yeah, I think 4 different guest writers. Let me see. Michael Ledwidge was book 1. Books 2 and 4, and I think what's considered 1.5 were written by Ned Rust. Book 3 was written by Adam Sadler, and books 5 and 6 were written by... Sorry, let me look this up real quick. I have the book right over here. Chris Grabenstein. So, basically, what always blew my mind about this franchise, and I'll probably go into this, when I review the entire franchise as a whole, is that you have these 4 different authors, and still the story reads, just like one author wrote it all. And I know James Patterson did with, with the guest, with 4 guest authors. But I'm trying to wrap my mind around how they could keep all of the stuff straight, like this happened here and then this happened here. And what I noticed was that, and it isn't really too much of a spoiler either, usually at the end of a book, with the exception of like some of the later books, and these books can be read in any order except for book 6, I think, but you could read any of the other books in any order, but 5 should be read before 6, basically. But now I lost my train of thought. But basically, all I'll say is that at the end of nearly every single book, everything basically that gets ramped up to 11 or 100, it basically gets back to 0 at the end. So the book usually ends the same way it begins, or it has the same feeling, if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't, but anyways, basically, this is an amazing book. Sometimes when books add gimmicks like, say, time travel or a mulligan or an ex machina, it kind of would normally come off as forced, but in this case it doesn't. It actually really fits with the story, which is amazing. But the addition of time travel, I think, really benefited the entire series as a whole. But yeah, long story short, this is an amazing book. That is, of course, my opinion. You can either take my opinion or leave it. Either way, it's fine. But it's been a long time since I found a book series that was this poignant, this engaging, this relevant, this relevant to where we are today. It's a very relevant book for today, even though it was written, I don't know when that book was written, but I know the first book of the franchise was written like in 2008, I want to say. And I think that a lot of the themes addressed in this book and all the other books in the series are very poignant or very relevant for today. That's one of the reasons that I really want them to basically make either a TV show or a movie or something based off of this. Not this book necessarily, because they'd have to start from the beginning. But just this franchise needs a movie or more love, I would say. Now, I realize that they were trying to, but maybe, I don't remember exactly how long it's been, but I know they were trying to make this into a movie or a TV show or something, but then it got stuck. Like most things, it kind of got stuck in development, and I'm not sure if it'll ever see the light of day, which is kind of tragic because it needs to see the light of day. But yeah, it's just, as far as I'm concerned, a good book. It's easy to read. The chapters are super short. I think there were like 93 chapters or something, but it goes fast enough that you don't really notice how far you've gone, because you get really sucked into the world, and the chapters are super short, which is amazing. But yeah, this is just another one of Daniel X's adventures, and one of his most exciting ones yet. We'll see what happens in the 4th book when I do a review of that one. But yeah, let's see. It seemed like I dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's in my mental checklist about everything I wanted to talk about in the book. And I think I have. Again, I don't want to give too much away because I want people to read the book and see for themselves how amazing this franchise is. But yeah. Well, But yeah, this is just a book series that's close to my heart, and I wanted to make sure and do a review of it, and hopefully I've done it justice. I've been talking for over 20 minutes. Oh wow, no one's gonna watch this. But anyways, this is a book that I would highly recommend you check out, but that's just my opinion. You can either take my opinion or leave it. Either way is fine. I don't know. What I like most about this book in particular is basically, it's going to sound silly, but how well written it is. It takes high-end concepts and breaks them down simply enough that anyone can understand them, which I always find amazing and great. But anyways, that is going to do it for this video. If you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe, ring the bell so you know when I upload. Also, if you want to support me in any way, or if you want to join the Discord server, all the information will be in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone. You are loved, and have a great day.